name's Ash. If you're new to the channel, I'm a cyclist that's lost just over 17 kilograms, gained around 60 watts on my FTP on the road to 5 watts per kilo, and this channel is all about squeezing the maximum value out of my journey to try and reach my fitness potential so that I can then share that with you and we can all hopefully become more powerful cyclists together. And if you're not new to the channel, then you probably know that it's been a minute since I've produced any content, and that has been because I've had a complete tech failure across the board. Not only due to an encounter with a sheep at 34 miles an hour did my phone get smashed into 1,000 pieces, but also a couple of days after that, my laptop completely failed. So I've had that complete tech failure that has meant I haven't been able to produce anything, but I've got lots of footage and I'm gonna have content coming out of my ears that you're gonna have to stay tuned for. So, where were we? This is week 3 of my journey to try and reach my 5 watt per kilo goal as my FTP. And in week 2, last week, we were camped out, at the end of last week, we were camped out in the Chilterns, away from London, getting into the countryside where the terrain is just a lot more conducive to cycling. And there's a lot less traffic and just like the stimulus is higher. And for me, it's all about the stimulus. Is it gonna be fun for me to get out on my bike? And the Chilterns is just a lot more conducive to that. So we've been out in the Chilterns doing longer rides with more intensity. We're starting to ramp up the intensity, ramp up the workload so that we can adapt our body to what it's going to take for it to push 5 watts per kilo or over 5 watts per kilo for a 20-minute period. So first ride of the week, Monday, was Hixton Hill round 2. The most significant thing that happened during this ride was that I pushed 421 watts for 3 minutes and 5, which is a new power record since I was injured. So that's the kind of power that I want to be seeing. That's the kind of power that I was pushing before the injury. So we're now at a point where we can start to increase the intensity and we're only going to see more fitness gains. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say that the intensity that we're kind of doing at the moment, how we're going to ramp up, is probably a 6, a 5 or a 6. We're kind of halfway. We're nowhere near a max intensity right now. So 421 watts for 3 minutes 5. I was really pleased with that. And I did like 2 or 3 other similar wattages for similar times up different climbs, heading out there to Hixton and then back again. So that was a really good ride. So it was good to see that we're now back to where we should be when we were fully fit. From now, it's going to be nothing. Well, as long as things go to plan, then it's going to be nothing but gains. So then what we did on Tuesday is we left the Chilterns, we headed back to London, but not for long. So I think this will be a trip back from St Albans to London, which is about 20 miles, and just riding with a load of stuff on my back. So it was kind of weighted training, going at whatever pace I felt like that day. And we were heading back to London because I needed to collect a lot of stuff for our next adventure, which was the ride that we did on Wednesday. And this was a ride back to St Albans again to pick up a transit van, which was going to be my new home for at least the next 10 days. So in fact, we rode to King's Cross and we got a train back to St Albans because we had even more stuff. We had more stuff than we could carry in a rucksack, and you know, it takes a lot for me not to ride my bike somewhere. So I must have had a lot of stuff with me. So we were back in St Albans again and we were collecting a transit van. Yeah, my new home for the next 10 days. This is the transit van that we picked up. And the idea with it was to take myself to the dream terrain, take myself to the north of England where the traffic is low, the terrain is long, and the scenery is beautiful. The stimulus is high. Stimulus, to me, is the biggest factor in my fitness. Whether I'm going to be fit or not, or reach my maximum fitness potential, is based on the stimulus. And if I'm bored of the terrain that I'm surrounded by, then I'm just not going to want to get out and have fun. And I'm not going to push myself. So taking myself to the north of England where all that comes together and the stimulus is going to be so much higher, I'm just going to want to get out on my bike every single day, and you know, I'm going to be let off the leash. That's the most important thing, and that's where I'm going to really push myself and I'm going to make the biggest gains. And so why not, whilst the weather here in England is still good, before winter comes, let's get out there and do it. Let's do it. Let's execute. And to get a transit van was the way we were going to do that. So first thing we did was we drove up to Vale, which is my favourite climb here in England, and it also happens to be the longest continuous climb in England. So after about 5 hours of driving, I was like a mile away from Vale, and that was only when it dawned on me that I could park up, train on Vale, my favourite climb, cook, eat, and sleep on my favourite climb as well. And like just that thought of that freedom, being able to do that, like, it's so cool to have my house on the top of Vale, and it did not disappoint. It was beautiful. And it was the first glimpse into what a genius idea this is, the transit training camp. So after a pretty awesome night on the top of Vale, we woke up ridiculously early on the Friday morning to take a trip over to Katie Kookaburra's house, who is another cycling YouTuber who you probably already know because she's way more popular than I am, and we had organised a road trip up to Great Dunfell. And this brings me on to another reason I wanted to do this transit training camp, so that I could reach out to other cycling Instagrammers, YouTubers, and collaborate with them. And this was going to allow me to do that. Katie Kookaburra was the first person, the first stop on the list of people that I was going to go and visit. And what we were going to do is road trip a couple of hours from her house to Great Dunfell, which is called the Mont Ventoux of England, because it looks like a Pyrenees climb, and it's got it's sort of like, it's staggering. And I've got footage to show you, so I will put that in. In fact, you'll see all this in the videos that are to come. This is all covered in videos that I'm working on at the moment. But it's got like a James Bond 007's villains layer on top of it, which is actually this scientific observatory place that is like, it's a big golf ball basically. But yeah, it looks like a Pyrenees climb, and the Mont Ventoux of England, and it lived up to that. So the plan once we got to Great Dunfell was to meet up with a couple of guys from Pro Sky Drone Services, film with their drone, me and Katie ascending up Great Dunfell, and because the footage was well, the footage of Katie is amazing, and we were going to film with them all day. And whilst Katie needed to get some B-roll footage and just do some pieces to camera with those guys, I took the opportunity to go and do a full gas effort up Great Dunfell, because the actual climb itself is well over 20 minutes, and it was going to allow me to see where I am with my FTP. You know, we were gonna use the fitness that we had from Monday on the Hixton hill, 3 minutes and 5 at 421 watts. That hill wasn't long enough, and we were now going to have a hill that was going to let me off the leash. This is exactly what we were waiting for, and I was going to go full gas up it. Anyway, we got halfway there, up to the top of Great Dunfell, and there was a cattle grid with a closed gate. And so I'd been going full gas out of my face for the first half, and a gate stopped me, and I had to get off my bike, open the gate, and then start up again. So it wasn't to be, but it was an amazing climb up to the top of Great Dunfell. I was happy with my fitness, got to the top, did some filming at the top, and then began to descend. And this is where it comes to sheep versus cyclists. Descending Great Dunfell, speed increasing. I see a sheep loitering on the left-hand side of the road. I try and put my brakes on. Too late, he's run out in front of me, I've hit him, and my bike is now flying without me on it at 27 miles an hour before coming to a stop. And I'm in the air, hitting the ground, rolling, and I black out for like at least 5 or 10 minutes. I come to, and it feels like everything before that wasn't me. I'm having a kind of an out-of-body experience where I'm having a conversation with myself saying, wake up, and I'm like, I don't want to wake up. That conversation that you have when you're a kid and your mum is telling you to get up for school. I didn't want to get up, and everything felt like it hadn't happened to me, like really didn't. And only when I looked at my hands, I think my little finger was dislocated, did I realise that, well, it has to be me. that thing that just happened had to have been me. But it was such a surreal experience, and it's crazy the defense mechanism that your body, the wall that your body brings up in order to protect yourself from that trauma. So we were covered in blood. I was just road rash everywhere. Like every part of my body had hit the road at some point. Just blood everywhere, and yeah, my head and my hands, it was a mess. So managed to put my bike back together, descend back down slowly, watching out for sheep, and then just bandaged myself. The guys from Pro Sky Drone Services were amazing. They bandaged me up. I didn't want Katie to waste the opportunity or for me to be a burden, and we have to leave this place, Great Dunfell, on probably the most beautiful day that has ever been experienced at Great Dunfell, and not get the footage that she came here for. And so I just sat in the car, nice and toasty and warm, and just tried not to think about what had just happened. But yeah, so that was the end of that. As you can see here, no training on the Saturday, obviously, because we were fucked. And then on the Sunday either, we were just a little bit less fucked. But all this is going to be covered in videos that I'm working on at the moment. I had a complete tech failure across the board. Not only was my phone in my back pocket when I encountered the sheep and smashed into 1,000 pieces, my laptop, I think on the Sunday, or in fact the Monday, completely failed. And so yeah, complete tech failure across the board. Wasn't able to make any videos. I got lots of footage, I recorded lots of stuff, but only now am I able to work on it and start bringing it to you, sharing it with you. But there's so much amazing content to come. It's going to be coming out of my ears, so stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching, and if I don't see you out on the road, then I'm going to see you in the next one.
I can't even believe you read that out loud. That's unbelievable. I don't even know what to say about it. That's amazing.